Alright, I just finished bottling some honey. I had one top bar of comb that I cut, let strain, and this is what I had the next day after I bottled it. It's only from one comb, it wasn't even a full comb, but it was late in the season and I didn't want to take too much honey for the bees. So after the honey is strained out, this is about how much comb you have. So you can see it's still very sticky, still a lot of honey in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this outside and see if I can get the bees to gather some of that honey off of the combs so I get some cleaner wax. And then this weekend I'm going to try to melt it down, make myself a candle. Anyway, let's go put this outside. Let's see, backyard. It's a very windy day, but I'm going to leave this near the hive so the bees should find it pretty soon. Of course, I don't want a bunch of other animals and stuff getting it, but if I leave it here, I think I should be able to have the bees go in there and then clean it all out, because there's a lot of honey in there. So if I put it down like this, let's see if they go get it. Anyway, sorry for the shakiness of the video, so I'm just holding this by hand right now. I don't have it on a tripod or anything. Okay, so there's that. So there's the bees. I'm going to leave that there for a little bit, and we shall see if they clean it up for me, and I'll come check it out again later. Alright, bye. Okay guys, I decided to change my method a little bit, since there's really not that much honey left in this wax, and it's just attracting too many flies right now. So I'm going to take a double boiler type method here with a Pyrex that we don't use anymore for food. I confiscated it specifically for honey projects. And I'm going to put this all in, and we're going to heat it up and let the wax separate from the honey, and see what happens. We'll go from there. Alright, I'll check in again later. Alright, here's the wax in the Pyrex. I've got the water in there. We've got it on really low heat, and we'll just see what happens. Alright, and again, ciao. As you can see, the yellowest part in the middle, that's the wax. So the rest is kind of the debris and the honey and the water that I put in here. So what we'll do now is we'll let this cool all the way down, and then most of that will settle down to the bottom. We'll pull the wax out and we'll scrape the bottom, and then I can remelt it to get some of the stuff that's floating on top to be filtered out too, to get some very good clean wax. Anyway, that's the next step, so we'll let this cool down for about 24 hours. And good morning, it's the next day, so I let this sit. So you can see there's the wax on the top with all the mix of the water and the honey on the bottom. But what we're going to do now is we're going to just take this, pop it up like that, so you can see there's a little wax plug pretty much. Stop that. So there's my wax. So that's just the wax from one of those entire big large combs where all the honey was melted down. So you can see how condensed it is, but it's amazing how it doesn't look like a lot, but when you look at that big comb, it looks like a lot. So next year when I have more combs and we melt them down, obviously I'll have more wax to work with. But what we're going to do now is, you can see there's still the impurities in the wax. So on that bottom part I can just kind of scrape that down, and then we'll continue to remelt this until it finally looks pretty nice and clear and we don't have those impurities. So it may only take one more time since this is a small little bit, but we'll go from there. So what I'll do from here is melt it down again, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're all done with that. Alright, King's High Desert Bees signing off for the moment. Alright, so the second time around, all this stuff is still floating on top. So my plan is to, as you can see, I got the spoon. I'm going to scrape it out and then strain it back through the strainer into here before I let it cool. So I think that'll get a lot of the gunk out. So we'll see how it turns out after we let it cool. Alright, here's the wax after the third time melting it down, second time melting it down. So now it's all strained, and once it dries completely, I will remelt it, and we will pour it into our candle mold to see if I can get at least one small candle. And we'll show you that a little bit later. Okay, so here's the wax. We're going to melt it in the microwave, and then when it's all done, we will pour it into our bee candle molds. I don't know exactly how much I have, so I have a smaller one and I have this little bit bigger one, but if we want to get an idea of size, there's a candle wick. So as you can see, they're not really, huge candles in the first place, which is good because you can make a lot of them for if you have a lot of wax. Anyway, we'll melt it and then we'll begin the pour. Okay, so I've got just a little less than a half a cup. So that's one whole comb of wax. Now I'm sure there's a little bit that's wasted when you try to pour it off and dry and all that kind of stuff. But, so now that we have that, I think I probably have enough to make 2 of the small ones. I don't think I have enough to make one of the big ones. So we'll take this, and as you can see, it's splashed on the top a little bit, and it cools down quick, but we're going to pour it on in here. And it's going to spill a little bit. That's okay. We'll let it dribble down. And it's probably not 100% perfectly straight because of the fact that I have that in there. But now we just let this sit and cool. So once this is cool, we'll peel off the excess and we'll take off that silicone mold and we'll see what kind of a candle we have. Alright, so that'll be shortly here. Okay, so we're back. So there's the candle mold. It's been only about a half an hour, but it's a small candle. A little bit bigger candle, we'd probably want to wait an hour. But let's see if we can get this out of here without breaking it. And voila! There we have our little candle, a little tiny beehive candle with the bees on the side. So this mold works very fantastic. It was very easy to come out. As you can see, there's nothing left on the inside. I didn't have to spray it down or anything. It's just a silicone mold. And then our next step, of course, is to cut the wick. And let's see if we get a better view of that. There you'll see B1, B2, little B3, and then we'll just cut it about right there. And all I need to do now is just kind of trim up the edges a little bit. So we'll just take a knife and we'll just trim the edges. Make it nice, neat. There's the bottom of the candle. You can see where the wick was. Now, I did realize that I had kind of made a mistake. I had put the this on the bottom. So, what happens is when that little metal piece is on this side, well, and the top of the wick is there, I can't take that off without breaking it. So that's actually just sitting in the wax right now because I broke it. So what I was supposed to do was put it on this side if I had a double-ended open one. So I learned my lesson that way. I don't really need to use this unless I have, because this mold is upside down, right? So if I had it the other way and I needed to, I would have put this through here and I could have locked it in that little latch like that, and then that would have sat on top like that. So that was my fault in the mistake in this candle. But hey, first candle, first comb, we're all set, and that is how you end up taking all that beeswax, rendering it down, and making yourself a candle. So I hope you enjoyed this educational King's High Desert Bees candle making kind of tutorial, just to show you how it's done. And that is it for now. You guys have a great day. Like and subscribe if you thought this was interesting. All right, bye.